we talk about the receiver room, we talked about this one guy who is, I think, been, of all the signings we've had this offseason, I think he's the one guy that no one really is, everyone's kind of overlooking. No one's really talking about Richie James at all. And he's one guy from day one, was at the Texas workouts with Mahomes. He's been in the league, going from the 49ers to the Giants, and he's put up numbers. Special teams guy, but also playing on the slot, posted career numbers this past year playing with Daniel Jones and the Giants. But I'm not the biggest analytics guy, but NFL's Next Gen Stats released some stats last week that were pretty interesting to me. That Richie James was named the most reliable pass catcher of this past season. Just going deeper into the numbers here, the stats looked at pass catchers who mostly consistently hauled in passes that weren't expected to be completed, not those who stuffed the stat sheet. So not looking at really overall numbers, but looking at passes that weren't supposed to be completed, which I'm sure there's a lot of opportunities with Daniel Jones. I'm sure he had plenty of those type of opportunities.
That sucker paid.
Yeah, I know. They look for catch rate over expected CROE metrics, which measures the difficulty of completion using a number of factors, including separation from nearest defender, depth of target, and speed. So James posted a season-long catch rate of 81.4%, but he had an expected catch rate of 70.4%. That means he caught over 11% more passes than expected, given all the different variables. So he caught 11 more percentage points than what he was supposed to catch, which is unbelievable. And like we said, he played with Daniel Jones, so he had to kind of do a little bit more, and I think Pat's going to make it a little easier on him. But his catch rate over expected was better than any other receiver who had met the aforementioned criteria. He held quarterbacks targeting him post a 119.6 passer rating, the third best mark of any pass catcher on the list. And of his 70 targets, only 13 resulted in incompletions. So, JD, like we talked about, Justyn Ross is getting a lot of hype. Rashee Rice, the second round receivers, obviously getting a lot of hype. But Richie James isn't really getting much hype and hasn't really been talked about that much this offseason. But when I saw his numbers come out, and obviously making life a little bit easier playing with Patrick Mahomes in this offense that just does the best for receivers, how excited are you about Richie James? And do you think he's being overlooked as a guy we brought in this offseason?
Actually, I do. I actually do. Man, when he came on the roster and I started looking over him a little more, I was really excited about this guy. Still am, to be honest with you. To me, he's our return guy. That's how I look at it. If I had to say, okay, if I'm choosing somebody on a roster out of those 12 guys, those wide receivers, guys that can make guys miss, guys could, have burners, all those things, he fits the bill for me. To me, I'm saying he's our return guy. I don't want to put anybody else back there. Let him be the guy, okay? Because he'll fill up a roster spot. He'll be a guy that offense, like you said, catch rate over expected, which is just crazy to me. Just this whole arbitrary measuring analysis. Which, okay. Anyway. But that, hey, that is a beautiful stat to be great at, okay? It is a beautiful stat to be great at. But he's going to battle, just like everybody else, to make the roster. He's going to have to battle to make himself in that top 5. Is he a top 5 receiver? He fits incredibly well what we do offensively. We know that. We know he has all the ability, does a great job. He was getting open, making a lot of catches, played a lot bigger than what he was. It's almost like a Tyreek-esque type of deal guy, right? He doesn't have all Tyreek, but he has, some of those attributes. So he could be a weapon for us, absolute weapon for us. But I love him. But for all the names that's being said out here, we always forget about Mr. James. And so I think it's been a little shade. I think it's been a little bit put him on the back burner, man. And he's going to be one of those guys that's going to keep showing up training camp, preseason games. He's going to keep showing up. He's a guy that you had to sit there and like, man, he's going to be really hard to cut this guy. Like, there's no reason to cut him. And if we want a guy to be solidified in position that can do it all, he can do it. I think he has a ton of talent. He's shown it. He's worked hard to get to where he's been and where he's at. He's be catching balls from Daniel Jones. Got Daniel Jones paid.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, he to me that joker's a magician. Magician to do that. Nah, I mean, Daniel got a little talent, man. But man, dude, come on, without a doubt, uh, he's an incredible talent, man. He's an incredible talent for sure. But I think he has been getting some shade, no doubt about it.
Yeah. And I think he's the perfect, we talked about Justyn Ross being a perfect guy to rotate in reps with MVS. Richie James is a perfect guy to be rotating with the tiny man offense that we always talk about with Skyy and KT. I
Yeah,
think he's a perfect guy. And, people talk about injury concerns with KT. People talk about injury concerns even with Skyy a little bit. This guy can easily plug and play at the positions that those guys are playing. And it's funny when those metrics came out, I saw the comments on Twitter. It's like, man, you guys let the NFL let Kansas City get this guy. What the heck? How did they come up with him? It's like, I mean,
hey, doing their homework, and they was ready to leave out of a place. He was ready to leave out of New York to come to a place to win a championship, and it's made sense. KT was already here. Him and KT had played together, and so to him, I'm sure KT had a lot to do with it. Like, oh, yo, listen, hey man, come on here. Y'all need to get this guy. He's going to be available. Shoot, so I'm sure it had to do something to do why he's here. But plug and play, no doubt. Doesn't skip a beat. Shoot, he might come in and start half the games. Not just as a return guy. I'm talking about literally better on the field. On the field, because he has experience. Yeah, he has great experience. How many balls did he catch last year?
It was a career high for him. Last year he caught 57 for 569 and 4 touchdowns.
So he can get open. I watched the catches he was making, man. He can get open. He can find those soft windows. He can find all of that in coverage, in zones and whatnot. He beat guys in man. He's got it all. He has a good game to him. So he's a guy that, because of his experience, because of all the things he can do, I can't see a guy getting rid of a guy like that at all. He is a prize that we need to utilize and exploit defenses with every chance we get.
The fact that he's shown flashes with Daniel Jones, with Jimmy G, with Nick Mullins at quarterback in San Francisco. I mean, he's shown flashes with. I'm not knocking these quarterbacks, but they aren't Patrick Mahomes, and they aren't play callers like Andy Reid, who will make life easier for receivers. Both those guys do. So, that's also to see the guy excel with Daniel Jones in that Giants offense. It's kind of interesting to see how they'll translate in Kansas City, and I think it'll make life easier for the guy, and he won't have to make these unexpected catches that the advanced stats says he did last year.
Right. Yeah, and look, he's polished his game up. He's polished his game up, and I love every bit of it. But yeah, these not expected to catch. Whose expectations are these, and who's I can't stand analytics sometimes. I really can't. But hey, like I said before, wonderful, right? Hey, if you're the king of the castle in the stat, then so be it. Okay. Dude, if you're the man that got 10 toes, to everybody that got 8, then good. Okay? Whatever.
Hey, most reliable pass catcher. Forget about the numbers. The NFL's most reliable pass catcher according to Next Gen Stats.
Oh, good.
Yeah, when I saw that headline, most reliable pass catcher, I was like, who is it? Like Justin Jefferson? And I was like, Richie James? What? Interesting.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so I think as you said, most overlooked guy, and I think he's going to surprise a lot of fans at how well he plays in this offense this year. Right? Really, it's going to be interesting to see how he does, and yeah, it's another guy amongst that 12 wide receivers that's going to have to work for that spot, and he's obviously shown he can do that in less than ideal situations.
Well, yeah, and now in the return game, I think he needs to be your answer in return game, right? Yeah. He needs to be your answer. So you don't want to pick a KT back there. You don't want to keep trying to find other guys to do it. We know Jerry Neely can do it. Pushing for him to make the roster, we don't know if he's going to be. He's going to be right there on the cusp of things. So I think Richie James is a guy that could be solidified in that spot, right?
Yep, I think as of right now, it's Richie James, Ely, Nico Rubigio, undrafted rookie from Fresno State. I think that I even saw that Justyn Ross was returning some punts. Deneric Prince was getting some return at kick return.
No. Hey, listen, I love those guys. Look, the shiftier guys, let them guys do it. Okay, like who makes somebody miss in a phone booth.
Yeah.
Hey, look, love Pacheco at running back, but hey, man, when he was back there returning kickoffs, we was like, no, oh, no. But he
Yeah.
had to learn his, and thank God it worked out. He became, our bell cow, right?
Yep. I think Dave Tube said that Deneric Prince reminds him of Nile Davis back there as a return man. So I mean, I can see the speed and the body, the physique. Yeah, I can definitely see the measurables and stuff. Yeah, I can see that. Will he be as successful as Nile Davis was at kick return? We'll see.
Yeah.
But it's cool. And honestly, it just shows how much these guys want to see the field. They're even seeing Justyn Ross returning punts. In no way, shape, or form should Justyn Ross be returning punts. His injury history, and I don't want him returning punts. I mean, I just don't want that. But it's showing these guys are doing whatever they can to make that team, and they know it's tough sledding, man. It's tough with the amount of skills that we have on this team.
Yeah, man. Yeah, put it in the skill players, the skill guys. Make sure you put it in their hands. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need no joker back there 6'4" trying to return punts and kickoffs.
Ooh.
Unless it was Tamarick Vanover.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's the one kind of outlier I'm trying to think of, like a tall guy. Was Eddie Drummond was pretty tall, right? Or he wasn't a tall guy.
No.
Yeah, it's his return man. They're usually short statured guys, little water bugs.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Hi everybody, thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.